I exposed the sinister secrets of 7 cursed angels, hunting them and ripping their wings forever. Sarah's fingers trembled as she wiped down the counterfeit granite counters of Maplewood Mart, her heart racing over the stories she had read. Her breath hitched in the silence of the convenience store, where fluorescent lights buzzed like angry bees. It was after midnight, the world outside wrapped in darkness, swallowed by shadows that whispered familiar yet terrifying names: Ethan, Mrs. Langley, Principal Roberts. Her son was clever, but there were things even he couldn't understand. Things that lurked just beyond the veil of safety. Earlier that evening, amid the chaos of pocket cash and endless lines, she'd stumbled upon the book, a tattered relic hiding between the shelves. Unease coiled in her gut as she flipped its pages. The 7 cursed angels called out, their eerie promises striking chords within her. Each tale filled with unsettling imagery, curses drenching her mind. They promised safety but looked for the weak to prey on, their presence haunting, a dark reflection of the trouble that loomed over Maplewood. Sudden disappearances, an atmosphere thickening with fear. She felt the first chill of paranoia creep up her spine. What if it was true? As she scrubbed stubborn grime, her thoughts swirled. Who among her neighbors held an angel-esque guise, charm woven into a fabric of deceit? The truth crept upon her, layering dread over her exhaustion. No one could be trusted. No one was safe. Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system, and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The strangest things began to happen just after that, like a movie unraveling in slow motion. Ethan, once bright-eyed and enthusiastic, now talked to friends no one else could see. "They're out there, Mom," he'd say with an eerie calmness, his brown eyes glazed over as if some darkness had seeped into his soul. "They visit me at night." Panic gripped Sarah's heart. Was it the burden of parental anxiety playing tricks on her? Frightened whispers passed among neighbors, tense conversations dripping with suspicion, yet she felt utterly alone. The school principal gave Ethan too much attention. His smile melted into something sinister each time their eyes met. There, in the heart of Maplewood, the facade of the happy suburb crumbled, revealing a fear-soaked underbelly. Every corner felt eerie, wrought with shadows. Every sigh of wind a ghostly warning. That night, sleep eluded her. She woke with the sound of wings, like rustling leaves, an instinctual dread clawing at her throat. The neighborhood transformed into a labyrinth of fear, each creak in the floorboards amplifying her anxiety. Sarah's mind spiraled into the abyss. If she was to protect Ethan, she had to uncover the truth. With each passing hour, she pieced the puzzle together, convinced Mrs. Langley's sweet smile concealed secrets darker than cursed angels. A chill raced through her as she blinked awake. Where once her little suburb had been a sanctuary, now it felt like a hunting ground. The door creaked. The air turned cold and still. Heart pounding, Sarah turned, the shadows reverting to human shapes. Muffled whispers filled the air, and she wondered who truly held the power to protect. Who, in this facade of safety, was the next victim of Maplewood's sinister curse? As she clutched the old book tighter, she knew she had to act fast. The wind howled outside, scraping branches against the windows. Shadows danced as Sarah stood frozen, breath caught in her throat. Something shifted in the corner of her eye. Was that a figure? A fleeting silhouette among the aisles of frozen foods? She blinked hard, but it was gone, her heart thundering like a war drum in her chest. The fluorescent lights flickered, casting erratic shadows across the deserted store. In the starkness, she felt the weight of every memory thrusting her deeper into discretion. Images of Ethan talking to the air came rushing back. She needed to protect him from whatever malevolent force had invaded their home. Taking a shuddering breath, Sarah moved toward the exit, each step echoing in the silence. Just as she reached for the door, the bell chimed, a slow, deliberate toll. No one had entered, yet somehow the air grew thicker, charged with unseen eyes. Panic surged. She could feel the hairs on her neck stand up. The book, What if it held more answers? She turned back, heart racing as she rushed toward the shelf where she found it, desperate to unearth any power it could offer. Pulling the book from the dusty shelf, Sarah felt its weight, solid and real, a stark contrast to the flickering shadows dancing around her. The pages felt surreal as she flipped through them again. Strange incantations clung to the margins like whispers in the dark. One part that caught her attention was marked with a tangle of faded, small handwriting. Beware the ones who appear holy. It struck a chord deep within her. Who's the Holy One here? She mumbled to herself, sweat slicking her palms. Her mind darted to Principal Roberts and Mrs. Langley. A surge of anger swept through her. Could either of them be cursed? Scratching her head, she recalled the eerie rumors that had circulated among the town's grapevine. Children disappearing, elders going mad. Every tragic tale intertwined with whispers of protective angels turned malevolent, as if they snatched away the innocent souls meant to be shielded. The realization sank in. They weren't just old wives' tales. They were warnings. In that moment, the store's entrance slammed open. The echo shattered her focus. Her heart skipped a beat. She turned sharply as the light poured in harshly, illuminating a figure on the threshold. It was a hooded silhouette, dark and vast, consuming the space around it. Fear wrapped around Sarah like a vice. "Sarah," a low, haunting voice called, echoing like a dirge. It was Ethan's voice, but tinged with something dark, something twisted. "They've come for you." The figure stepped forward, revealing not her son, but a pale reflection of his features twisted in sinister glee. "No, Ethan," she screamed, reality crumbling around her. The shadows roared to life, folding in on themselves, each little movement of the figure stretching the space into an even darker abyss. "Join us," it whispered, the sweet scent of betrayal dripping from its words. Sarah's heart pounded madly against her ribs. She stumbled back, clutching the book as if it were a talisman, her last hope. As the figure moved closer, the otherworldly chill wrapped around her, suffocating and surreal. It reached out, fingers like blackened tendrils. Flickering images of Maplewood invaded her mind, faces of neighbors twisted with malice, whispers that slithered into her very essence. Sarah's vision blurred as she fought the overwhelming despair. She couldn't let Ethan fall to this darkness. Taking a deep breath, she chanted the words she read, feelings of fear decaying into a flicker of defiance. "Thou shalt not take what is mine," she shouted, the words ringing through the store like a battle cry. But as her voice lingered in the air, the figure halted, and for a fleeting moment, she saw uncertainty flicker across its visage. What was that doubt? Could the angels be fought? She had to know. The walls of Maplewood Mart trembled, and the shadows shrieked in anger. Just then, with a deafening burst, the lights flicked back on, illuminating the flicker of chaos she had instigated. But then it all stopped. Silence pervaded, and the figure melted into the shadows. All was still, yet the sensation of danger lingered in the air like a poison. Heart racing, Sarah realized she hadn't won yet. The night wasn't over, and salvation was still fracturing. Soon, she'd have to face even darker truths, and even more sinister angels, lurking behind smiles. Could she uncover the next layer before it swallowed her whole? Sarah's breath came in sharp gasps as the oppressive silence crushed down on her. The overhead flickering bulbs buzzed again, faintly illuminating the aisles. The air held a weight, an unsettling tension coiling around her limbs. She clutched the book tighter, conscious now of each breath, as if exhaling too loud might summon the shadows back. Turning slowly, she scanned the vacant aisles, instinctively looking for movement. The store felt too wide, too empty. It stretched on endlessly like an abyss waiting to swallow her whole. What were these angels really? Were they attempting to orchestrate a twisted game of torment? She had to find answers. Desperation pulled her to the frozen food section, where she remembered the flickering shadows seemed to pulse. The fluorescent lights flickered again overhead, as if echoing her uncertainty. As she passed the rows of brightly colored boxes, she paused, certain she felt eyes on her once more. "Focus, Sarah," she whispered, steeling her resolve. She could do this. She had to. Flipping through the book, she scanned for anything that might shed light on her next move. The chilling handwriting grinned back at her, each inked letter like a stab of ice. Then, a passage caught her eye, something about the sacrifice. Her pulse quickened. A sacrifice? To what end? Almost instinctively, she knew this could tie into the whispers held tight in the town's dark corners. The sound broke the stillness, a soft shuffle from behind her. Sarah whipped around, heart pounding in her chest. The shadows seemed to shift and writhe, as if alive. "Who's there?" she croaked, voice trembling. The cold air stung her throat, carrying a weight beneath her words. "Sarah, help them," came the reply, an echo tinted with Ethan's tone, yet foreign and warped. It froze her in place. A plea? Or a trap? Her instincts screamed to run, yet something held her in place like gravity, pinning her to this cursed ground. "Ethan?" she called, voice breaking. "Is that you?" She felt like a moth, its wings singed by fire as it flitted helplessly in the dark. The shadows crept closer, coiling around her as if eager to pull her under. "Join us," came a low, sinister chant with chilling harmony. Sarah's mind raced back to the passage in the book. There was mention of a meeting place, where the angels roamed freely. Was this where she had stumbled upon the dark side of Maplewood? "Help them," Sarah echoed again. But it wasn't just Ethan anymore. All the lost children, all those blemished faces of the elders haunted like specters. They were begging. What was left of her courage ignited. "I want to join you." The defiance rang out, cutting through the whispers. At once, the figures surged from the shadows, swirling like black mist. Each face she recognized twisted, contorted into endless agony. A haunting wail filled the air, and Sarah felt the cold tendrils curling at her throat, creeping for her sanity, threatening to crush her spirit. "No, not real. You can't take them," she shouted into the maelstrom, clutching the book as if it were a life raft. "You have no power here." With that, a blinding flash erupted from the pages, ripping through the shadows, illuminating the horrors around like an eclipsed sun. She blinked, stunned, as figures recoiled. The wailing crescendo morphed into a chorus of rage, and finally, the shadows erupted around her. The book was alive, she could feel its magic crackling. The shadows parted momentarily, revealing a doorway through the store, glowing with the promise of the unknown. What lay beyond? Escape or deeper into the abyss? But before she could decide, something clawed at her ankle, pulling her back. Panic surged. Was it a soul seeking vengeance, or something worse? "Sarah, don't," came the echo again, pleading and desperate. Could she hold on to her resolve? The intertwining forces of light and dark clawed at her sanity. The choice plummeted before her: take the risk and pursue the light, or succumb to the shadows clawing between her legs. Her heart ached, a raw wound pleading for a definitive answer. The door shimmered. Tantalizing. What choice would she make? Uncertainty gripped her as the shadows twisted tighter, and she stared into the encroaching darkness. Would she leap into that unknown, or let herself be consumed? The shadows lunged again, and in that moment, she understood. This battle would require more than courage alone. Could she unravel the truths they kept hidden long enough to save him? Desperation clawed at Sarah's throat as the shadows yanked her back, dragging her towards the chilling void. She could feel the cold creeping up her legs, an icy grip that sought to anchor her in the depths of despair. The door shimmered like a far-off star, beckoning her with the promise of salvation. Yet those haunting faces hovered close, their expressions twisted in silent agony. "Ethan," she cried again, voice breaking under the pressure of fear. Could he be truly lost, trapped amid those figures? The whispers slithered through the air, coaxing her to listen, to yield. "Help us, join us," the echo morphed into a chant. A chorus of voices she recognized, each woven with pain and desperation. No. She wrested herself away from the pull of the darkness, her heart pounding against her ribcage like a frantic drum. Her fingers tightened around the book, feeling its power pulsing in sync with her rapid heartbeat. Could the words within save her, or were they merely another illusion? Gritting her teeth, she pressed her back against the icy shelving. "I will not be another sacrifice," she shouted, defiance spilling forth despite the weight of dread pressing down upon her. She clung to the flicker of hope rising within, forcing her mind to race through the lines she had read earlier. The sacrifice, the words formed a tricky puzzle inside her head. What if it didn't mean she had to give herself up? What if there was a way to confront this darkness, to turn the tables? The shadows shrieked as if reading her thoughts. Join us. They hissed like angry serpents, the figures suddenly lunging, their forms melding into monstrous shapes, an amalgamation of fear itself. Stay back, she yelled, and with a sudden swell of courage, she opened the book wide. Light erupted from its pages, warm and golden. The shadows recoiled, momentarily repelled. She stumbled forward and shouted the first incantation that sprang to her lips. It was the only one she could remember, the words reverberating through the store like thunder, shaking the stale air. Bound by blood and shadow, break this curse. As she spoke, a tremor coursed through the ground beneath her feet. The air crackled, and for a split second, the shadows flickered like dying embers. She felt her pulse quicken. What if it actually worked? But then came a roar, a furious cyclone of darkness. The shadows twisted back in fury, lashing out at her, hungry for the light. Eyelids were drawn wide, revealing those tortured, pleading faces once more as they shrieked in unison. No one escapes the bargain, Sarah. The price must be paid. In that instant, a figure broke through the chaos. Ethan? Ethan stood there, eyes wide with fear, but not completely himself. A flicker of silvery light reflected in his pupils, battling against the encroaching black. Sarah, he shouted, desperation palpable in every syllable. Don't let them take you. You need to, Ethan. She breathed, feeling her resolve waver. The shadows writhed, eager to consume the opening. Fight them. Fight it. But even as she urged him, the twisted forms behind him coiled tighter, reaching for her with long, gnarled fingers. She could see his essence, a light flickering dimly, slowly chased by the consuming darkness. A sudden realization hit her. The price to free him may involve more than just bravery. It would take an unthinkable sacrifice, a choice that could cost her everything. Ethan, she said, tears stinging her eyes. I want to let them have you. She steeled herself. The book pulsed in response, sensing her resolve. But just as she clenched her fists, ready to defy fate, the eldritch forms closed in. You will either join us or lose him forever. With a final, desperate scream, she lunged toward the shadowed figures, directing the light of the book at the shuddering mass. The echoes of 1,000 anguished voices rose in a terrible crescendo. The sacrifice loomed ahead. What will you give? The darkness hissed again, its breath chilling as it pushed toward her. In one harrowing instant, Sarah realized. She was standing on the precipice between salvation and damnation, and her decision would shake the very foundations of both worlds. Would she risk her soul to save Ethan? The confrontation with the angels had only just begun. The world around Sarah twisted violently. The shadows surged forward, grasping at the light that shimmered from the book. Each breath she took seemed to be a gasp for life itself. As the air turned thick and suffocating, she could feel the weight of their hunger settling on her chest, a suffocating blanket of dread that screamed at her to submit. Ethan, she cried out again, her voice hoarse, yet pleading. She forced the light higher, pushing against the darkness with renewed fervor. The book was alive in her hands, pulsating with an energy that felt both ancient and primal. Ethan staggered back, the light in his eyes flickering as the shadows reached for him with twisted, claw-like hands. You can't, his voice crackled like fire swallowing dry leaves, drowning beneath the relentless cacophony of despair. You can't fight them alone. Together, she shouted, desperately hoping he could hear her. We can beat them together. The shadows erupted in fury, a tempest of howling wails that cut through her, making her skin crawl. It became harder to think, harder to breathe, as ghostly faces surfaced in the chaos around her. We welcomed you, Sarah. You were one of us. They whispered, their tones sweet like honey laced with poison. It was a temptation she struggled to resist. No, she spat, heart racing. The power of the book surged in response, lighting her path, illuminating the hideous figures swirling around her. She could see their faces clearly now, hollow eyes, mouths stretched in silent screams. Each one held a piece of her worst nightmares, but also a flicker of her lost humanity. The whispers turned into a chorus, spinning a web of despair around her. Join us. Join us. The true sacrifice is not your life. What do you want from me? She shouted, fighting the pull of their dark call. Suddenly, she remembered the words, the lines that had haunted her since she first opened the book. The sacrifice must be sacred, she gasped. The idea ignited in her mind. What if the price wasn't about throwing herself to the abyss, but instead, drawing the darkest part of herself out and confronting it? Through the panic, a fierce conviction ignited within her. I will not be a pawn in your game, she roared, gripping the book tighter, feeling a heat blossoming throughout her body. Here is my sacrifice. I leave you my fear. The shadows lunged once more, desperate to swallow her light. But this time, she didn't flinch. Instead, she opened herself to the chilling agony, letting the fear pour out. Instantly, the air thickened, swirling in a chaotic cyclone of memories, her failures, her doubts, her darkest thoughts, all merging into the shadows, feeding their hunger with her vulnerability. Take it, she cried, agony boiling beneath her skin. Let it free, Ethan. The darkness shrieked, recoiling as if struck. The shadows warred around her, consumed by her fear. But she stood firm, her heart pounding a defiant rhythm. For a moment, she felt a connection, a heartbeat, warm and real. Ethan S. Fight me, fight with me, she urged him, knowing she had to pull him from the depths. The energy wrapped around her, resonating with the fierce light in the book, drawing both her and Ethan closer together. But the shadows fought back violently, intensifying their grasp, threatening to snuff out her last flicker of hope. You are lost, they hissed, voices dripping with malice. This pain will not save him. You'll only unleash greater darkness. In the eye of the storm, as turmoil enveloped her senses, she struggled to hold on. Little did she know, the shadows were revealing a greater truth, a truth that would shake her to the core and unravel everything she thought she knew about love, sacrifice, and the strength she possessed. Ethan's voice, muffled through chaos, broke through her haze. Sir, there's something I need to tell you before it's too late. What could he possibly reveal that could change everything? Just as she reached for him, a blinding flash exploded within the shadows, wrenching her gaze away. Join us, they screeched, and she wondered if it was too late to escape. Would she uncover the sinister secrets behind the 7 cursed angels, or would they drag both her and Ethan into the eternal night? Time was running out, and the real sacrifice was just beginning. The blinding flash faded, leaving behind an eerie stillness. Silence pressed in all around Sarah, thick and suffocating, almost as if the shadows had taken a collective breath. Her heart raced, pounding like a war drum in her ears as she strained to hear Ethan over the chaos of her thoughts. Sarah, his voice was there again, fragile, yet it cut through the quiet like a beacon. The shadows swirled, dark tendrils snaking around her feet, dragging at her resolve. Ethan, I can't keep this up for long. Panic laced her tone. What do you need to tell me? Look, behind you. His voice surged with urgency, flickering against the darkness that threatened to pull him into their suffocating embrace. She turned, but what she saw made her blood run cold. A shadow, darker than the others, slithered forth, its form coiling and stretching as it stepped into a semblance of solidity. This one bore a face, a twisted, grotesque caricature of human features, eyes hollow yet gleaming with an ancient hunger. Sarah had hissed, voice like 1,000 blades scraping against stone. The truth lies with us. Stay back, she screamed, a jolt of terror sparking in her joints. The book throbbed in her hands, responding to her fear, but also her resolve. She could feel the weight of its knowledge pressing against her palms, urging her to harness its power. Do not be foolish, child. The shadow crept closer, its breath ghostly and chilling. You've already strayed too far into our realm. You belong to us, just as he does. No, Ethan is not part of you. She tightened her grip on the book, summoning every ounce of light she could muster. Release him. The creature laughed, a sound that echoed through the air, rattling her very core. You think you know love, but you know nothing of the sacrifice that binds souls. There is a price to pay, an eternal price. Her breath quickened again. Was that the truth? Did she really not understand? The air crackled and the shadows twisted around her as memories flickered before her eyes. His laughter, their shared breath, the warmth when he held her hand. Join us and learn, the shadow cooed, its voice now dripping with seduction, more persuasive than a snake's whisper. Surrender your mortality, abandon your precious fears, and embrace the darkness. Become one with the 7 cursed angels. It can save him. No, Sarah shouted, shaking her head violently. She couldn't. The pain in her chest twisted tighter at the thought. They were toying with her, taunting her, mixing promises of salvation with the sting of despair. Deep down, she felt the cold grip of panic. Was there really no way out of this? Only through sacrifice can you truly understand, the shadow continued. Ethan has secrets that even he doesn't know, secrets that can only emerge after your sacrifice. What secrets? Sarah cried back, desperation clawing at her throat. What do you know? Secrets of the angels. Of what they have become because of you. It spat, dark eyes glowing brighter, as though each word was a spark igniting the void. Only by understanding these can you hope to save him. In that moment, clarity cut through the fog of her thoughts. But still, the shadows tightened around her. Fight this. Ethan's voice, sharp as glass, broke through her resolve, vibrating with a strain she had never heard before. You're stronger than they think. Don't give in to their lies. A flicker of hope ignited within her, clashing against the shadows dragging at her limbs. But doubt settled in her mind as she wrestled with the truth. Who really was the enemy here? The dark figure, or the encroaching shadows that sought to consume them both? Ethan's plea was wrought with anguish. Listen to me, it's not just you they want. Stop, she shouted again, her voice hoarse, fire igniting at her fingertips. But the shadows closed in. With each pulse of the book, the truth and terror wrapped around her tighter and tighter. The choice loomed ahead like a chasm, gaping wide and deep, filled with uncertainties. The shadows whispered sweetly, promising strength, power, and secrets untold. But at what cost? As chaos erupted around her once more, she had to know what secret could Ethan possibly hold that would change everything? The darkness laughed, anticipating her surrender. And just like that, she was faced with a decision that would ripple through time. Could she risk everything for a truth that might be a lie? Or use the light of the book to tear through the abyss, risking their souls in the process? Time is running out, came the taunting cry. And in that moment, with dread knotting in her stomach, she knew she was teetering on the edge. What secrets lay hidden in Ethan's heart? And would she unravel them before the shadows claimed them both forever? The shadows throbbed with darkness, pulsing like a living thing eager to devour. Sarah's heart raced, matching the chaotic rhythm in the air. She sensed the hunger within those waiting forms, their whispers swirling around her like a tornado coaxing her to succumb. Ethan, she yelled, fear piercing every syllable. Fight them. We can't let them win. The shadow with the distorted face twitched with amusement, its hollow eyes narrowing. Oh, but you are losing already, sweet girl. Every moment you hesitate, your light fades, and we grow stronger. With a determination that felt foreign but ignited by desperation, Sarah took a step towards Ethan's fading figure. Light from the book flickered, illuminating the twisted forms momentarily as she bellowed. I won't let you take him. You are powerless. The shadow retaliated, voice thick with malice. Understanding comes through pain. You will learn one way or another, like all who confronted the lost angels. Her muscles ached under the weight of her resolve. She clenched the book tighter, drawing on its energy, each thrum a reminder of her purpose. But doubt wrapped around her like a noose. Was she truly strong enough to face this darkness? What if the cost was too great? Sarah, please. Ethan's voice, still faint, broke through her spiraling thoughts. You have to trust me. Remember, love isn't just about sacrifice. It's about courage. Courage. The word echoed in her mind, pushing back the creeping despair. She took another step forward. The shadows recoiled as if her light burned them, their cries turning into screeches of frustration. Stop. The creature snarled, losing its serpentine calm. True strength lies in submission. Bend to us. We'll give you power beyond comprehension. I don't want power, Sarah screamed, her voice overpowering the cacophony. I want Ethan back. I want the truth. In response, the shadows coiled tighter, fangs bared and hunger whetted. The grotesque face lurched forward. Your truth is a deception. You romanticize hope, but comfort is a veil. Strip it away, and you see what lies beneath. The air crackled as the darkness surged forward, dragging chains of doubt along with them. Breathless, Sarah felt her resolve teeter precariously. Her memories of Ethan, solid as anchors, flickered like dying embers in a storm. Would she ever be able to save him? Can you see it? The dark figure mocked, voice smooth and insidious. The whispers of your love will not protect him. Only in relinquishing your humanity can you unlock what was denied in darkness. The book pulsed violently in her hands, divining an ancient truth. A mental wall burst within her, a memory, fragmented but vivid. Ethan's touch, the warmth of his skin, the way his laughter danced on the air. It fused with her purpose. Those memories anchored her, coursing through her like a wildfire. No, Sarah shouted into the abyss. Rage intertwined with her fear. You think you can take him from me? I will fight. I will find the truth. And just like that, a blinding light erupted from the book, illuminating the darkness momentarily. The shadows shrieked, twisting away as if they could be burned. In that sacred space of radiance, Sarah caught a glimpse of Ethan, his face contorted in pain, yet clear and present. Sarah's voice was stronger now, breaking through the shadow's grip, desperate, yet resolute. You have to be the light. You need to discover what I truly am. The angels within me cry for freedom, and only you can free them from the curse. The words struck her like lightning. What did he mean? Freedom? She echoed, breathless. What are you hiding, Ethan? But as quickly as the light appeared, it flickered, threatening to vanish under the weight of the encroaching darkness. The shadows screeched and howled, more furious now than ever. I will not be your pawn, she yelled, feeling the surge of her resolve cascading over her like a shield. But Sarah was now left with a choice: dive deeper into this chaotic truth and uncover Ethan's secrets, or risk losing him forever to the shadows. I want to let you take him, she declared, standing her ground as the darkness wheeled closer. And then, an unsettling silence enveloped her again, and she realized with chilling clarity, she wasn't alone anymore. Whispers filled the air, clamoring for her attention, each voice weaving a tale of terror across the threshold of understanding. What truth would pull her under? What sacrifice would she face to save Ethan? The darkness brewed, a tempest of secrets demanding revelation, with time slipping swiftly away. The whispers grew louder, curling around Sarah like tendrils of smoke. They beckoned her, taunting her resolve, promising answers she craved but feared. Faces drifted in and out of the shadows, lost souls, spirits that had succumbed to despair, their eyes hollow yet piercing, demanding to be heard. Sarah, one called out, its voice fragile as glass. You cannot trust him. He is not what he seems. She could feel thudded stops in her chest, each voice separating her from the clarity she sought. Which one was speaking the truth? Each utterance painted Ethan differently. Some claimed he was a savior, others a monster. No. You're wrong, Sarah shouted back, trembling. He is good. I know him. You do not. Another shadow hissed, its voice drenched in disdain. He is one of them. The angels are lost. They lead you to barrel toward your doom. A chill gripped her as she grappled with reality. Ethan's truth unfolded before her like a cursed tapestry, one unraveling under her fingers. Did he really carry angels within him, or was that merely a guise beneath which darkness thrived, waiting for the right moment to consume her? Ethan's voice cut through, more potent, echoing against the cacophony. You must choose trust or doubt. Both roads lead to pain, but only one leads to true freedom. The shadows shrieked in protest, flailing like beasts caught in a trap. They thrummed an ominous harmony. Follow him. Fall into the void. You must release the locked light within everything. Sarah hesitated, her breath hitching in her throat. Release what? What is locking you? A pause shattered the air. Then a cacophony of voices cried out in unison. The angels bleed with the sins of betrayal. They were cast down for their pride, and through Ethan, they longed to rise again. You must be willing, Sarah. Willing to embrace the darkness and return their wings. While rose in her throat. This was bigger than she imagined. She was the key to their resurrection, bound to a fate she never asked for. The thought weighed heavily on her shoulders, pulling her deeper into despair. Yet the flicker of light within the book burned brighter, sensing her conflict, urging her on. The irony was palpable. To help him, she must confront this evil. Tell me, how do I truly save you? She cried, her voice trembling. What must I sacrifice? Ethan stepped forward within the light, his eyes bright with yearning, yet darkened by a heavy secret. There are things you do not want to know. The angel's freedom rests on your choices. Trust me, and they may regain their wings, or you can turn away. This is your moment. As the shadows grew still, a cold fear took root in Sarah's chest. What if trusting Ethan meant dooming them both? The weight of potential betrayal lodged like a stone in her gut, heavy and unyielding. Choose. The shadows snapped, their frustration boiling over, swirling ominously. Make your decision. We will unveil the truth. One way or another, a wave of darkness surged forward, clawing at her, eager to tear her choice from her. Sweat dripped down Sarah's brow as she felt her heart thumping in her ears. Each drumbeat elicited the screams of the shadows, a symphony of despair rallying against her. Would she uncover the harrowing reality of Ethan's existence? Could she wrestle the shadows off their throne of twisted truths? Or would she succumb to their endless whispers, drowning in the tempest of lies? As the darkness closed in, a fierce struggle raged within her, pushing her towards the precipice of unknown horrors. Fear gripped her, yet the flame of determination blazed brighter. She had to act. I refuse to bow, she shouted defiantly, and the ground shuddered, tremors rippling through the shadows. But as the words left her lips, the ground cracked, the darkness shifting underfoot. There she stood, wavering between two worlds, one of light designed to save, and the other laced with terrible sins. In that moment, Sarah felt a ghastly truth swirl around her, something hidden and vile just under the surface, waiting for an unwitting soul to dare address the darkness. What would she uncover if she pressed deeper? What had Ethan concealed that could shatter everything she believed? The fabric of the abyss stretched taut, ready to unravel. The shadows writhed and coiled around Sarah, forcing her to the edge of a bottomless pit where light flickered like a dying ember. Her breath quickened as the whispers twisted into a low, mocking chant, layering her with a palatable dread. It felt as if the ground would swallow her whole, but something within her resisted. Choose. They hissed again, voices ricocheting like bullets. The dawn of their liberation dances on your will. A single choice, Sarah? Time stretched and buckled. The weight of their despair dug into her mind like an iron nail. She wasn't just a bystander. She was a player on a chessboard, every move vital. Why? She shouted, desperation clawing at her throat. Why me? What do you gain from this? Voices clashed, overlapping in a riot of anguish. You are the vessel. Unlock the truth. One cried, while another snarled, they'll bring ruin. With their rise comes your end. A fresh wave of shadows surged through her, the temperature plummeting. Ice gripped her skin, stabbing into her heart, freezing her thoughts. Ethan was close now, and she could see him clearly, standing at the threshold of light, a beacon that felt both warm and dangerously seductive. Trust me. Believe. His voice rang as if sent from a distant shore, keeping her tethered. Yet doubt wormed through her, insidious and relentless. She felt the hammering in her chest, the urgency of the moment weighing down upon her. I don't know how to do this, she shouted, conflict visible in her trembling limbs. I don't know who you really are. You know me. I am your salvation, he urged, reaching out with hands that shimmered as if dipped in celestial light. But the glinting shadows laughed, echoing the torn edges of her doubt. He lies. He needs you to bleed in their name. Every instinct screamed at her, pulling her in opposing directions, one of light and one of darkness. The realization crashed upon her. The choice wasn't he merely trusting Ethan, it was a gamble between her soul and the spirit's yearning for rebirth. Sarah clenched her fists, the words from the shadows swirling, weaving a tapestry of dread. What if I free them? She whispered, shadowing her thoughts with a deep-seated fear. What if they turn on me? Ethan's expression tightened, a storm of emotions flickering in his eyes. They are desperate, Sarah. They have lost everything and seek love, not violence. If you can unlock the truth, you can save us all. But to do so, you must confront the shadows, face what you fear most. With a sudden sting of clarity, Sarah remembered the flicker in the book, the warmth radiating from its pages when she embraced her fears instead of running from them. Okay, she breathed. I'll face them. As her resolve crystallized, the shadows recoiled. Chaos erupted, a cacophony of screams and wails filled the air, surrounding her in a symphony of chaos. The ground shifted, but she remained steadfast, her voice rising above it. "I will break the chains. I will shine light into this abyss," she proclaimed, pushing against the darkness with the fierce intensity of her will. And just like that, silence fell. The shadows stilled, a momentary calm wrapping around her. The air seemed to vibrate, energy crackling and thrumming. An ancient power stirred, beckoning her to dig deeper into the abyss she had embraced. But as it unraveled, a piercing howl echoed through the emptiness, resounding as if the very fabric of her existence was rent asunder. It stung at her heart, for the dark truth behind the angels loomed closer, a whisper in the blackness. "You will learn to bleed, or you will perish." Sarah shivered, a jolt of icy dread lancing through her. Was it too late to turn back? Did she have what it took to confront the burden of their sins? The very idea held her captive, alluring and terrifying. And beneath the stillness, whispers began to swirl once more. They spoke of her past, her choices, painting a dense web where nothing was as it seemed. Shadows flickered at the edges of her consciousness, eager to draw her in. Would she dare to unearth the very truth that might destroy her? Or would the angel's hunger gnaw at her soul, leading her to a fate worse than death? The silence broke. A new voice, chilling and ghostly, tore through the silence. "Prepare yourself, Sarah. We are not what we once were." A deeper, darker truth beckoned, one that could fracture everything she thought she knew. But she had to unearth the ghastly secrets of the cursed angels. What awaited her beyond that terrible revelation? The crossroads had shifted, and the next choice loomed ever larger, wrapping around her like a noose, tightening with every breath. The shadows roiled as Sarah stood firm, the oppressive atmosphere pressing against her chest, each whisper clinging like tenacious vines. She felt the pull of terror clamoring to drag her into the depths of the curse, but within her surged a flicker of hope. Could she still save Ethan? The moment for action had come. Would she find the courage? "Tell me then." She screamed into the void, emotion cracking her voice. "What do you want me to sacrifice? What must I do to save him?" The darkness twisted, revealing calamitous faces morphing in and out, mouths stretching into sinister grins filled with malice. "You seek truth, but truth comes at a price," the lead shadow hissed, face still contorted, curling with delight. "To save him, you must embrace the shadows within yourself." "Embrace what?" She spat, resolve burning. "This isn't about me. It's about Ethan. Tell me how to save him." Ethan's figure flickered in the light, eyes locked onto hers. "Sarah, you've come this far, don't give up. Your love is stronger than they understand." And just like that, a realization jolted through her. The memories they all shared, the laughter, the trust, the warmth filled her with renewed strength. They weren't just sweet recollections. They were anchors, the foundation upon which she could build her fight. Drawing from that reservoir of love, she took a step toward the darkness. Then let us see what kind of truth lies beneath this veil. She fought against the clamoring whispers. "I'm willing to face my fears. I will not be a pawn." With those words, light poured from the book, flooding the room, banishing shadows temporarily and leaving the air vibrating with energy. The whispers recoiled, howling in frenzy. They knew she was on the right path. She could see it in their twisted faces. "Show me," Sarah demanded, her voice steady, strong amidst the chaos. "Show me what you hide." In response, the shadows caved as a surge of dark energy arched through the atmosphere, pulling at her essence, begging her to relent. Visions flashed. Pictures of Ethan's childhood, moments of innocence playfully illuminated by a golden glow deemed sacred, yet always draped in shadows. "No, I want to turn away from what I love," she screamed as the darkness pushed back, threatening to devour her light. "Your love is but a fleeting spark," the shadows whispered into her mind. "Doubt lurks, pain looms near." But in that chaotic moment, something inside her shifted. The weight of doubt began to lift, revealing a gnawing truth, a truth she buried deep. The pain they all carried didn't come from outer darkness. It bloomed from within. So far, she had only been running away. "I know what I have to do," she cried, bravely standing still against the swirling shadows. "You want me to bleed, to hurt. But know this, I will face it. Every tear is a step toward freedom." The shadows shrieked, writhing in rage. But push through she would. Each beat of her heart drummed louder, fortifying her resolve. With the book raised high, she summoned her fears of failure, fears of losing Ethan, even fears of the darkness itself, and rather than fighting them, she embraced them, wrapping them in the warmth of her love for him. "Take it," she yelled, both a plea and a declaration. "This is my sacrifice." The air crackled like lightning, energies collided, shadows fragmented, twisting in agony and revealing glimpses of countless souls imprisoned by the curse the angels tormented, dangling between despair and longing. "You think your sacrifice can save him?" The lead shadow spat, its voice a blend of rage and disbelief. "Your love cannot light the way through the darkness." "Watch me," she retorted, feeling the rush of power coursing through her veins. It was electric, a fierce light rising up from the depths of her soul she never knew existed. "Together, Ethan, let us break this curse," she shouted as the shadows threatened to engulf her. She felt the flickers of resistance in him. His voice, stronger, echoed through the haze. Together. In a rush of clarity, the light burst from the book, radiant and vivid. The shadows screeched, a cacophony battling against the onslaught of blinding warmth that surged through the store. "I am not afraid. I refuse to break," she declared, their anguished wails fueling her strength. The light blossomed violently, bathing the darkness until, one by one, the tortured figures began to emerge, released from their chains of despair. But the lead shadow remained fierce, twisting and thrumming against the brightness, refusing to relent. "No, you will be my vessel. You shall not claim the light." But it was too late. Her love and sacrifice shattered the chains he had over her heart. "This is not your victory," Sarah said, the power radiating through her veins, erupting forth like a wildfire. "This is our freedom." With that final cry, Sarah surged forth, a cascade of brilliance pushing against the shadows, overwhelming them until they erupted into a kaleidoscope of broken dreams and long-lost hopes. Ethan's figure stood resolute, illuminated by the light as well, eyes glistening with tears and warmth returning to his features. But the chaos of before lingered, still pulling them both. "Sarah," he called, stepping closer now, light mingling with the darkness. "We did it. Together, we reached them. We're not done yet," she breathed, energy still swirling within her, and the shadows rallied back, launching one final desperate surge toward their grasp on her. "Embrace the depths," they hissed, a final, desperate plea. "Embrace your fears." "No, you have no power over me," she declared fiercely. "The truth is I love him too much to fall." With a final surge of power, she pushed against the remnants of shadow with the strength of their bond light driving out the darkness until, with a roar, the shadows ruptured, broken into a million pieces that danced away into nothingness. The air grew still, and Sarah gasped, dropping to her knees in exhaustion. Ethan knelt beside her, enveloping her in an embrace that felt like home. "We did it," he whispered, warmth flooding back into his heart, a living testament to their triumph. Tears flowed freely from Sarah's eyes, emotions crashing over her like waves. All around them, an otherworldly shimmer enveloped the space. The once suffocating darkness lifted. The book cradled between them pulsed softly, a heart still beating, reminding them that love had prevailed. But as they looked around, shadows of the past lingered, whispering in the corners of their memory the haunting truth of curses overcome, but the weight of their truths far from forgotten. "Let this moment embody how we move forward," Ethan said softly, gently lifting her chin to meet his gaze. "We carry both light and dark within. It's how we choose to rise that defines us." "Yes, and together, we will navigate that journey," Sarah replied firmly, realizing the depth of the truths they had all uncovered, ready to embrace whatever came next. And so, hand in hand, with hearts interwoven by love and sacrifice, they stepped forward into the dawn, ready to write a new chapter, the one where light could shine brighter than any shadow that dared to roam. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support for the channel and the stories you love. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and help us grow. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this ending. Don't keep this to yourself. Instantly share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Don't wait even one more second to share. Show that you're a true fan.